morning. I'm Katie Ford, and this is Xavier Imperial here with me on our 3 a.m. edition of CU Goes Abroad. Today, we will also be heading into the field in Brazil with Danny and Leon, who are going to be taking a look at Gazella Wi-Fi on our special Gazella feature. What does this feature entail?
Well, today we will be going over what Gazella actually is. We're going to interview Leon about Brazil's culture, see whether Gazella is going to focus more on standardization versus adaptation, talk about their segmentation and their target market in Brazil, and then we're also going to see what they want to do when it comes to their positioning and pricing.
Absolutely, and we might also take a look and see, the feasibility of this and whether it could be a long-term potential for growth. And then at the end, we'll wrap it up and make sure that you understand everything we talked about in this 3 a.m. segment.
Now let's take it to Danny, who's in the field right now with Leon.
Danny Odlog reporting live from Brazil. Here we're going to go over a little bit about Gazella and what they do. So Gazella is an Omaha-based startup founded in 2015 who uses Wi-Fi as an automated marketing tool. Gazella currently caters to restaurants, cafes, and bars in the United States, and they really give their customers an ability to track customer demographics. They allow interaction and give the opportunity for the restaurants to grow their customer base and increase customer turnover. Some of the strengths that Gazella Wi-Fi marketing has is their ability to personalize each Wi-Fi router to the company that they are serving. Another strength that they have and another place that they really thrive is automation. They make the process easy and they make it cheap for restaurants and cafes to make their own marketing processes that big companies can do without the budget. And another strength is obviously their access to customers. This gives them the opportunity to be interwoven with their customers and give the opportunity to the customers to be part of their restaurant's culture. So now that we're caught up with Gazella and what they offer to their customers and where they're at in the United States, we're fortunate enough to bring in Leon, a Brazilian native, to tell us a little bit more about Brazil's culture and if Gazella would be a good fit here in Brazil. Leon?
What's going on, Danny?
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good.
So Leon, tell me about the culture here in Brazil. Give me a little bit of an overview.
It's like one big family, honestly. Everybody is, just happy to be alive. Just move day to day, just as a family. I love it. I love that big part about it.
So would you say it's a pretty high context culture here in Brazil?
Absolutely. Especially, I guess, in the business sense, for sure. Because, especially when people come from the United States, they don't understand like putting their phone away if we're eating or something like that. Because that's where we really like to connect with them the most.
Okay. So Gazella is primarily a company that does Wi-Fi marketing for restaurants. So that means you have your phone out and you're connected while you're eating. Would you think that Gazella would want to go into the marketing or the restaurant Wi-Fi marketing business here in Brazil, given that it's part of the culture?
We would love the Wi-Fi while we eat, right?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, right. Exactly. But I don't think that it would be very successful because a lot of the relationships and best relationships we create for business are in those environments, those dinner environments where we're able to actually let loose and be able to get to know each other more personal level.
So you heard it here first. Gazella Wi-Fi may be taking a different route if they want to enter into the Brazilian market.
So after hearing from Leon, it sounds like maybe Gazella isn't the best for restaurants in Brazil right now.
Based on their culture and what they eat there and how they eat, I think you're right, but I do really still think it's good for the Brazilian market.
Maybe it's not for the Brazilians themselves, but maybe travelers. I'm not really too sure. What do you think about that?
I've actually been looking about planning a trip to Brazil, and I feel like the Wi-Fi that Gazella provides could really help out in some of those different places that people might stay at. And I've been trying to figure out what might be the best place for me to stay at when I do travel there, and I don't know quite what to consider. Have you heard anything about the living when people travel there overnight?
I've heard when you travel to Brazil, there's some pretty cool boutique hotels that you can stay at. They have some really nice experiences, but I don't know, is that for you?
You know, boutique hotels are great and they are kind of individualized, but I feel like they're not as embedded in the, backpacking, traveling type of culture that I'm really looking for. I'm really looking just to backpack around, be one with the locals, and I don't really think a boutique hotel is quite that. Anything else?
If you want to be one with the locals, maybe you should consider an Airbnb.
Okay, Airbnbs would be maybe a great place for me to visit, but I know that for something like Gazella, it could be challenging since there's different owners for every single Airbnb, and it could be really hard to make that, spread as a company dealing with all those different sorts of vendors, if you will.
That's a really good point. I have just a thing for you.
What?
What about hostels?
That might be it, okay, because hostels are accessible, they are cheap. As a backpack traveler, I know I could stay in them, be one with the locals, and that would be perfect for Gazella because they are at least a little bit bigger, than Airbnbs would be, so the ownership across them would be much easier to manage. But there are still over 2,000 different hostels in Brazil, so their range could be as wide as they wanted. And then at night, when you go and you're looking through your photos from the day of all your cool travels, you actually have Wi-Fi to be able to talk to your friends back home. Because right now, hostels, not a lot of them offer Wi-Fi just because it's challenging to get that in, and I think that Gazella could really, really make an impact.
It really does sound like hostels are probably the best segment for Gazella to go into right now when it comes to Brazil.
If it works for me, I think it'd work for Gazella.
I think we should throw it back to Danny and see what Leon thinks of hostels and Wi-Fi in Brazil.
Yeah, I really think with his native experience, he would know if it would work or not and if they could be successful. Let's check it out.
So just heard back from Katie back at headquarters, and it sounds like Gazella has chosen hostels to be their target market in Brazil. What do you think about that, Leon?
Damn. That's great. That is awesome.
Keep it clean, Leon. Thanks.
I apologize. That might be one of the best ideas I've heard. They provide Wi-Fi, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So they wouldn't even really have to adapt their product then. It could remain standard because they could continue to provide Wi-Fi for the hostels, correct?
It's a great point, Leon. They're going to have to not do much with their product and keep it standardized. So that seems like a good place for Gazelle to move into.
Man, it's good to know that this product is going to work in Brazil and hostels, and I'm getting pretty jazzed about it. But in order for it to actually work, we need to have a really good integrated marketing campaign. Our IMC is probably one of the most important parts of this, don't you think?
I do. I'm not really too sure on what our IMC should be, though. What's your opinion on that?
Considering that our main target market here is going to be those low-budget travelers just heading all across the country, I think we should really, really focus on pattern advertising, which they'll be consistent, but it'll allow us to adapt to the different, regions of Brazil and be really creative with those.
If we are using pattern advertising, though, when it comes to the positioning, do you think Gazella should do something different or keep a certain strategy?
I think we should probably start off with some penetration pricing, make sure to lock down some really solid hostels, and then once we have all that going, once we're spread out all of Brazil, then we can maybe alter it from there, but that's a pretty good start, I'd say.
I'd say that's a really good start for Gazella, too. I wonder if Danny and Leon has any last thoughts on Gazella before we close up for tonight.
So I'm back in the field, which is Brazil, with Leon. Hi, Leon. Thanks for sticking with us today. So it sounds like Gazella has really positioned themselves to target hostels and attract travelers to the brand that is Gazella, because they are an affordable and reliable Wi-Fi provider that works as a marketing tool to grow customer base and increase interaction. So knowing that and the way that Gazella is going to attack the market with these Brazilian hostels, do you think that it is something that will be able to be implemented and feasible for market entry?
What I think about it? Hell yeah. I'm definitely waiting to see this in my country. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah.
And that was Leon after 3 Spanish classes in which we just must have missed him take. And now back to you, Katie.
Wow, well, he went from native to native.
Well, anyways, it looks like we're running out of time. Do you think Gazella will be feasible in Brazil?
Yeah, I really do. Based on our target market and our segmentation and then the integrated marketing that we're going to do there, I think it's going to be successful.
Well, to wrap up our new segment for today, in conclusion, well, today we will be going over what Gazella actually is. We're going to interview Leon about Brazil's culture, see whether Gazella is going to focus more on standardization versus adaptation, talk about their segmentation and their target market in Brazil, and then we're also going to see what they want to do when it comes to their positioning and pricing.
Absolutely, and we might also take a look and see, the feasibility of this and whether it could be a long-term potential for growth. Alrighty, well that does it for this 3 a.m. session of CU Goes Abroad. Thanks for tuning in this morning. Grab a cup of coffee and start that day off fresh. Thanks to Sodexo.
I believe in miracles. Where you from? You sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came along, you sexy thing.